Welcome everyone to the Shop and Tread Talk podcast. I'm your host Aniz, and my co-host here is Frank. I'd like to welcome all the viewers and listeners here. We're basically trying to do a podcast and just talk to the industry and give our opinions, along with Frank's opinions on what we like, what we don't like, and just have a good time. What do you think, Frank?
I think this sounds like it's going to be a good time. We'll just see what these episodes bring us. We'll talk about our shops and our customers and part some of the industry and what's happening there,
Get the good
and
and the bad.
the good and the bad, and see where the conversations take us for sure. Looking forward to an exciting time and good
Yeah, so
conversations.
definitely. So we're both shop owners. Frank's a mechanic as well, so he's definitely got that extra jazz on there. I could probably change brakes if I had to, but I would not trust myself to make sure everything's tight.
That's what they have torque specs for. Identifix is great for torque specs. We use
Yeah,
it every day. Every day, it's an amazing spreadsheet for that.
I don't think we could go like a week without it. I mean, with all the service information that you get on there and like the quick, I don't know if it's not a quick fix. It's called direct hit, right?
Direct hit, yep. Direct hit Identifix. Uh, Solera, I think, is the other name by
Yep.
it. Goes by a bunch of names.
It's been a great help. We've had it for a number of years now, and it's definitely saved a lot of time. It's definitely not like a master fix login or anything, but it really
No,
does give you a good start. Like, okay, look here, and that might lead you to wherever you're trying to figure out to go.
yeah, we use it primarily for torque specs. It's so easy to look up torque specs. We do a lot of brakes, suspension work, and especially when I have apprentices or co-op students or something like that, the very first thing I ever teach them is how to torque something, so that make sure that it isn't just on there, on there. It's torqued. Everything is Loctited. Everything is torqued. So when somebody does a brake job, I know it's done. I don't have to worry about it coming back and something being loose.
So what you're
That's the last thing we
saying
want.
is I shouldn't use an impact to torque that last few bolts.
You would be surprised at how tight an impact, even an electric impact, can make something. I did one a few days ago. I was putting a front end together. I think it was on that Honda Pilot I was changing the engine on,
Yep.
and I just zipped on the caliper bracket bolts, and then I got out my torque wrench, and I'm like, oh crap, they're too tight already. And I hadn't cranked on it at all. And sometimes I just I used to. That's the industry when I started. It was just take an impact, ram it on there, and air impact. These old I forget what brand it was back then, but ram it on there as tight as you can, and
Yep.
that was good to go. And now I do it with the Milwaukee electric impacts, and it's just like, damn, those bolts are really tight. Like they are not designed to go that tight. Wow, they
No,
take it, but
it's interesting. Like even we get cars coming in all the time. Like their lug nuts are way too tight, and
oh yeah,
it makes such a big difference when you look at service information and you actually say, okay, well, this vehicle needs these wheels to be on it, 100 foot-pounds. Just do it. But some places, and I'm not gonna name any big chains, which everybody that's listening will know exactly the chain I'm talking about. Large chain in Canada, they got 16, 17 year olds working there and zipping the wheels on, and you could ask them what a torque wrench is. They may or may not have ever used one. And what happens is the vehicle goes down the road, and 4 months, 5 months later, they come in and get their tires switched off. And let's say it's like an Audi A4, and those lug nuts are literally seized in there. Like I actually had a vehicle, we had to torch one of the lug nuts out.
yep.
And I
I
asked the
I
customer, like, have you had your vehicle serviced recently? Is the last time the wheels were off was at the unnamed place, and
yeah.
unfortunately, like that costed the guy a wheel bearing and scorched rims. I mean,
I drill them out. If I have something seized, I don't get an air chisel. I used to get an air chisel out. I used to get a torch out. Now I just drill it out. I get a nice sharp drill bit, and sometimes 5, sometimes 10 minutes, and it's drilled out. You replace the stud, you replace the nut. Usually, no damage to the wheel.
My
Um,
tech tries that first usually, and then worst case scenario,
yeah,
get the torch out and molten lava until the wheel comes off.
yeah. It sucks having to do that. That's dangerous. I sent you that picture not that long ago of the local tire shop where a guy had actually taken the couldn't get his wheel off and used
Oh
a
yeah,
zip cut and cut the wheel in half. Literally
yeah.
cut his aluminum rim in half because he couldn't get one stud. It was like some things you just shouldn't do yourself. Just take it to a professional.
But
But
he got the wheel off.
he got the wheel off.
The,
It cost him a
the
lot more
point
than a wheel
the
bearing.
point was for the wheel to come off. So I
Yeah,
mean, it's off. What
yeah,
he's gonna do with the, you know, 18% of the wheel that's stuck on the hub, that's another story.
exactly. What's your thoughts on torque sticks? That's a controversy in the automotive industry.
We have never used torque sticks ever. Uh,
That's good. I love to hear that. I never used them my whole career because I never believed that they work because I had this one air impact. My coworker had another air impact, completely different torque ratings. That air temperature changed the torque spec, like
yeah,
how much pressure it had. And I always said, "There's no way that that can work." And one of the
I
local
just don't
tire
trust it.
shops,
Like,
that's all they use, right? They just a torque stick, ram it on, off they go, right? I was talking to one of the tool truck guys the other day, and he
yeah,
said they had done a test on it. I guess there's a YouTube channel, Torque Test or something like that. I've
yeah.
seen
I
a
think I've
few of the
seen that.
videos now. And one of the things he said that they did is I mean it is designed to for because of the vibration it only goes so far. But now people are using those torque sticks on the electric impacts,
Yeah,
and the electric impact just keeps adding more force to it and over torquing like crazy. So the torque sticks are no longer usable because they're designed to work on an air impact, not an electric impact. So regardless,
I don't believe in
never
those
use it.
things at all.
No,
I don't think
use a
that'll
little.
ever be in my shop.
No, I've never had them. Use an electric impact to zing them on. Grab your torque wrench, torque them up, and drive a retorque and ship it, and it's good to go.
Like I've got customers saying, "Oh, I have a torque wrench at home." Yeah, okay, that's fine, but do you know
Yep.
how to use it, or do you know what settings? He's like, "Yeah, I just look it up on Google." Uh,
And they probably got one of those wind up torque wrenches, and they've left it at an 80 foot-pounds or 100 foot-pounds for the last 2 years. You know that spring is stretched and it's no good. The torque wrench doesn't work anymore.
I mean, it's just a wheel.
Yeah, it's just a
You
wheel.
know,
Who
just a
cares? Yeah.
wheel. I mean, you'll end up being like that guy that has to, carve off the 82% of the wheel that's left.
I've had two wheels, maybe three in my career, and I've been doing this now 27 years, and about probably three wheels in my career that I was responsible for that have come loose. And every time that happened, I changed my method of how I tightened and torqued and drove and retorqued and all that stuff.
Stop using
And
those
I'm
torque sticks, man.
yeah, okay, there you go, funny guy right there. Um, no, but in well, one of them was my wife's car, and it was just a matter of I had neglected to torque it. I had zinged them on, busy doing something else. She had to go, and she was almost where she needed to go, and all of a sudden she started hearing a noise, and she's like, "What's that noise?" And had my son was with her, and
Oh boy.
she's like, "I think that sounds like a wheel's loose." So they both get out, they check it. Sure enough, the wheel nuts are loose.
Oh yeah.
So they were smart enough to grab the wrench, tighten it up, and it was good to go. But yeah, that was my family. I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta be more careful, right?
How long were you on the
And
couch for that after that one?
luckily, she sleeps on the couch usually when something happens, and I still sleep in the bed. So
Oh,
she loves
gee.
sleeping on the couch. So it's all right.
But it's
Uh,
such an important thing that a lot of people don't take it as serious as they
yeah.
should. I don't know if I told you I had. Did I ever send you a picture of those torque stickers I got? I'll send you a link to it. So
Mm-mm.
basically, it's a local place in Canada that has these stickers, and it says on there, your vehicle has been torqued to X
Oh,
amount
really?
by this person, and please return after X amount of kilometers so we can retorque your wheels.
Hey, that's a great idea.
And I love it. I'll send you the link. I think you'll love it too. You should. I think I bought 6 or 7 packs, and I put them in
Okay.
every single car in the winter. So every car that comes
Okay.
out, it's about maybe from the bottom of my hand to here, and it looks
Yep.
like a parking ticket. So we write on there all the details, like
Oh, is that the one that goes in the door jam?
no, no, no. It's like a post-it note, but the top part here is
Yeah.
sticky, and you're gonna stick it right on the steering wheel or on their dash, and it's a amazing reminder for them to come back for retour. So
Okay. Yep.
I snapped a picture of it and I posted it in one of the automotive groups on Facebook, and I literally got no one was happy with it. I think
Really?
oh yeah, 3 people actually asked me where they could get it from. The rest of them, I've been putting wheels on for X amount of years. I never had a wheel come off, and this is just a waste of time. And this is just a way to pass on liability to the
Yep.
customer. It's literally just a way to remind the customer, hey, we care about your car.
Yep.
Come back at no charge, obviously. Freaking torque the wheels and
Yeah.
go on with your day.
It it takes 60 seconds. I've timed it. It takes 60 seconds to torque wheels, unless it's a heavy duty truck. But generally, it takes 60
Or if
seconds.
it's an Audi that's got 76,000 caps on it that need to come off.
Oh, I hate those things. Oh, my wife was bitching the other day. She had to do a Volkswagen, do a wheel swap. She's like, these stupid things. She's in there with a pick pulling these caps off. Stupid things, stupid things, stupid things. I'm laughing my ass off. I'm like,
So that's why your 60 seconds is 80% of the cars. Yeah, I
80%
believe
of the
it.
car. Yeah.
But
You know what?
just come back, retorque your wheels,
Yeah, exactly.
and what the hell? But an interesting fact that I'm learning, like the more people I talk to, especially, I don't know, in Canada it's huge. Like torque and wheels is very, very well known that you get your wheels put on and
Yep.
you torque them. But I was getting a lot of slack from a lot of people from different states in the U.S. and I don't know what it is. It was really, really surprising to see that.
Yeah. You saying that you got a lot of crap on online for ad or posting that sticker. I did a TikTok video probably early on in my TikTok career. Well, my printer's making noise. Um, about the oil change stickers,
Oh
and
yeah.
one of the first things, like the shop that I came from, it was all used to be just all handwritten oil change stickers, and then they went to this thermal image printer and just these paper stickers printed on there and stuck them on there. Well, the thing is that ink faded like within usually within 3 months it was faded away,
I
right?
had the same issue. Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the first things I did, I had a customer complain about it. Like we were 6 months in having the shop open, and customer complained about it, and he says, these stickers really don't last. And I said, you're right, they don't. I just don't have a better solution because I knew how the vinyl stickers and writing on it and how crappy it was,
Yeah,
and it
yeah.
just never looked right.
It doesn't look as
So I started
professional either,
exactly. So I started looking around,
right?
and I found this company in the U.S. that makes specific oil change sticker for my label maker that I have,
Yep.
and it's all using a thermal image printer. So I've been using those for the last 5 years,
Hmm.
and they do not fade. They stay on. I had one car that came back 30,000 kilometers or something like that since the last oil change,
Jeez.
and yeah, sticker was still valid, right? But so many people gave me crap over it. It's like, oh, you're just trying to harass the customer, and I'm like, no, no. I'm reminding the customer that this is when I recommend you do your oil change, because if you don't, catastrophic engine failure could result.
Yeah,
And
but see, we're the bad guys. We're just.
we're the bad guys for reminding them. Yep.
But if the dealer was to put that sticker on there saying you need to come back, that's okay.
Yeah.
We're literally just going by normal guidelines. Like if you're driving a Toyota Corolla or a Honda Civic and you're putting full synthetic oil on there, it's X amount of months or we put on there around 8,000 kilometers. I don't know
Yeah,
what you guys would do for a full
yeah.
synthetic.
For synthetic oil change, we do 6 months, 8,000 kilometers. For semi-synthetic, we do 4 months, 6,000 kilometers, and then if it's a diesel, then we do 6 months, 10,000 kilometers. Because usually most people that have a diesel, they drive a ton more. So
And
that's
what if
that's
it's
kind
a
of our specs.
GDI? What if it's a GDI Hyundai Sonata or something like that?
Um, Most of those surprisingly don't even call for synthetic oil. So we actually go, and CarQuest has been great for this for oil specs. Like honestly, they have the best oil spec sheet that I found of any of the suppliers or even of any of the service information. They give the best information, and so we pretty much follow that. And yeah, if it's something like that, most of the time they only take just a semi-synthetic oil, just
Reason I was
generic.
asking is because half of them come in with no oil.
They, you know what, their recommendation is, I think it's 12. No, no, yeah, it's 12,000 kilometers for an oil change. I think is what the manufacturer originally recommended. I went to a
Twelve
training session
thousand
for the.
kilometers on a Hyundai
Yep.
GDI engine.
Kia. Yep, exactly. For those Kia Hyundai engines. And I actually went to a training session on it. And if you like, we do our oil changes for those specifically. We do usually at between 4 and 5,000 kilometers. But
Yeah,
they only hold usually like 3.5 to 4 liters of oil,
yeah,
sometimes 4.5. And Hyundai actually did a study and they said that they were acceptable to burn a liter of oil every 2,000 kilometers. That was an acceptable parameter according to the dealership. But if you go to that and you have a 6,000 kilometer oil change interval, say, you're going to burn 3 liters of oil. The
yeah.
thing only holds 4.5 liters of oil.
That's why they all
So
come in with nothing on the dipstick.
by the time you come in for an oil change, you're not dipping nothing, and you're pretty much out of oil.
Well,
And so
then
that's why we
then you
recommend.
become a liar on the invoice on the repair order because it says oil change. We're not doing an oil change. We're filling oil. I mean, this comes in
Yeah,
with nothing.
yeah,
I've had some come in. I think I remember a 2012 Sonata, and the guy had the car towed in. Luckily, he had a warranty. Engine died, so I think we pulled the dipstick. There was zero oil on it, dry as could be. Seized
yeah,
engine completely. And he first got it towed to Hyundai because they had that recall, right? They were
yeah.
replacing engines like crazy, so that got denied. So it was one of my long-term customers. So he called me. He's like, "What do I do?" I'm like, "I mean, either you scrap the car or we throw an engine in it." But he was like, "I think I have a warranty on the car." So he checked, and he had a warranty with like $5,000 coverage on it.
Oh,
So I was like, "Sweet." So I said, "Okay, there's two ways we can do this. Either we put a brand new engine in, which is the right way to do it, get a crate engine right from Hyundai, or I'll search for a used one, throw it in there, and hopefully it's good." So
yeah.
ended up getting a brand new engine right from Hyundai. It was like $3,800, which is
Hmm.
not horrible.
Well, they probably
And
got a special deal on it just for the sake
yeah,
of,
that's what I
didn't
was
cover
thinking.
warranty.
Yeah, yeah. So it was like $3,800 plus gaskets and this and that, and then with labor and everything. I mean, I think his bill was close to like almost 8-9,000 bucks by the time we removed. And we then while we removed it, he ended up wanting this and that changed because we everything was right there. So,
Yeah.
but he
Well,
lucked out that he only was out of pocket like I think 3 grand out of after
mhm.
everything. But
Well, I just
a
did
year
that
later,
Honda. Yep.
was it? A year
Go ahead.
later, he ends up trading the car in. Okay, and you know what he bought?
Another one.
A 2018 Hyundai Sonata.
Sucker for punishment right there.
And he brought it in for an oil change, his first oil change. And my mechanic David, he looked at the car and you remember the guy, and he's like, "Furzo, we put the car up before we did the oil change. He stuck his finger in the tailpipe, all just like dripping of oil.
Oh man. In for a
So
penny, in for a pound, I guess.
unfortunately, I mean, you
Yeah,
can't fix it. What are you gonna do?
yeah. Well, I was going to say about an engine replacement. I just finished that Honda Pilot 2012 Honda Pilot engine,
It's a big job, right?
and it was a big job. And it was a fun job. It wasn't difficult. The worst part about it was this guy religiously undercoats his car, and it was
Oof.
covered. Like I was covered up to my armpits in freaking oil. But I was talking to him after, and he said, we had to make a decision. We didn't have the finances to buy a new car currently, and so we had to make a decision. And I think his bill by the time it was done was like $8,000 for an engine and labor. And he said I had to do it because I mean, what else am I going to do? I can't go buy a new one,
Yeah,
and I got to put this one back on the road. So now he figures he's going to drive it for another 5 or 6 years. But that thing blew up because I put a timing belt in that car at 165,000 kilometers, and now it had 301. So that's about another 150,
he,
60,000.
he did well. Yeah,
Well, he did well, but apparently, and I looked this up after, the timing belt recommendation is 100,000 kilometers on that thing. Every 100,000, you're supposed to change your timing belt on that. And
wow.
I'm thinking, I've never seen it was a Daco product, and I'd never seen a Daco timing belt blow up. Like this thing literally shredded in half. Like it just nothing was seized. All of the pulleys were good. Everything. It's on my TikTok if you want to go see it. I did a video on it, but it's crazy. Like the belt just literally shredded. And he said, "Wow, I suppose that's my fault." We were right around that time where he says I usually try to stretch it out to 150,000. That's when I would have changed it, but
Yeah,
had he changed it when the service manual said, first of all, it would have been his third time doing a timing belt, but it wouldn't have cost him $8,000 in the three times because a timing belt job is only maybe $1,000 by the time it's
yeah.
done on that car, and he wouldn't have had to put an engine in because the Honda engine will run forever, right? So yeah, that was an unfortunate deal for him, but he says, well, I guess we'll learn for the next time. So
Was it a new engine or a used one you put in?
it was a used one. We offered him a reman. It
Yeah.
was, I think it was about $1,800 difference to get a remanufactured compared to a
Yep.
used one.
Yep.
But we buy all of our used engines from LKQ,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they
Yeah. They're
offer
good.
like a 1 year parts and labor warranty. How can you go wrong with that?
No,
Like,
LKQ, and they've got locations like Stony Creek and
yeah,
Brampton. They're everywhere,
all
and I
kinds.
mean, I'd say they're pretty reasonable.
And this engine had to come out of I think it came out of Florida or something like that. Like we had to wait
Oh wow!
for a good week before it came in because it got shipped out of the U.S.
So hopefully that car wasn't on the hoist for a week.
No, no, no. It got towed in. Actually, got brought to another shop, a shop I used to work at. There, I guess they had been pretty crude to him about just calling him and saying, "Oh, you need an engine," and not explaining to him why.
Yep.
So he calls and says, "Hey, can I bring this to you? I'd like a second opinion." I said, "Absolutely." So I come in. I did a compression test on the front bank, and I said, "Hey, you've got no compression in cylinder two. You've got something happened in the timing belt." And he says, "Okay, good enough for me."
Yep.
Once it was out, I took it apart, could see the timing belt just shredded in the bottom.
Oof.
But
Well,
yeah,
you
it's
can't buy a car like that. What year was it?
12.
You can't even buy that car for 8 grand. Like it's
No, and that's what he said. And he said, "I know what I've got." He does meticulous maintenance. Like otherwise, he does all of his services like oil changes, differential fluid changes, transmissions, all that. Like he does it regularly. So
yep.
he knows what he's got. Well undercoated. It's not a piece of junk. It's not rusted out. It's not wore out. He said, "I know what I've got here. Yeah, I had to spend a lot of money, but I still know what I have.
Yeah.
If I went and bought something, I wouldn't know what I got. Get somebody else's problems, right?" So it was,
Unfortunately, just late on that major service that he needed.
and you know what he said. That's on me. I should have said, "Hey, let's do this timing belt." And you know what? That's something too where we as professionals, if we push that kind of stuff, like we'd be like, "Hey, you know what? Uh, the service manual says you should be due for your timing belt water pump." I mean, I guess we could have avoided this and had that. But
Sometimes
when you start,
depending on the customer, they don't want to be pushed, and you tell them like, "Hey, you're coming due for a timing belt, a timing chain, or whatever. It's going to be
yeah,
1,000, 1,200 bucks." At that moment, it may just be the wrong timing for them to think about spending that kind of money, and unfortunately, that turns up into bigger issues down the line, right? But
yeah, and they might just,
our job as owners and like you as a tech is to advise the customer. And like I hear on Jeff's podcast, Jada Mechanic, we have to advocate for the customer.
hmm
Oh, sorry, advocate for the car. I mean, yeah, the customer owns the car and everything, but we got to do what's in the best interest for the car to keep it safe for him and his family. And if the customer doesn't want to do the work, I mean, that's fine, but we've done our job in making sure that we let the customer know that, hey, you need this, and if you don't, like, you could have catastrophic failure down the line. And unfortunately,
yeah,
this guy neglected it for a few extra kilometers than he should have, and ended up with a pretty hefty repair bill, right?
yeah. And you know what as as bad as it is, we can all use it as a learning curve, right? Like for him, he's gonna be more aware of the time frame and say, hey, I need to get my services done or my timing belt change and whatever. But also for me, like for myself and for my service writer, I'd be like, you know what, when vehicles come in, let's be more aware of their mileage and what, let's look at the service intervals and see what
Yeah.
is due, and maybe we start recommending this is something that we haven't been doing because, like, honestly, we've been so busy. We've been in business now 5.5 years, and we've been so busy that we don't even have to look for any work. We don't have to suggest any extra work. We just try and keep up with what's going on, right?
It's a good problem to
But
have.
it, it's been great. We've been extremely blessed, and I'm not complaining about it at all. But again, like you said, if we had to have to advocate for our for the vehicle, and
Yeah.
these are kind of the things that we need to do, right?
Yeah.
So if we get to the point where it's like, hey, recommend to the customer, we do need to do this, and yeah, we could book it 6 months down the road or whatever, or a year down the road,
But the
and start
intention is
that kind
there
of
to
stuff.
fix it then, right? Like if you book an
Yeah,
appointment, you have an intention to,
exactly. Yeah,
do right by the vehicle, right?
yeah. I was listening to the Jaded podcast earlier, and he was interviewing Techmetric, and I know you're using Techmetric, and we've
Best
been
software
talking
on the
about
planet,
doing it,
man.
and something like that would. I'm assuming that it's one of those things that it does that it you can book ahead and shows you when this intervals are there for this and that and the next thing. And
Oh,
so,
for sure. There's a little tab right there. When you get the vehicle loaded up, there's a little tab you can click on that will actually give you like, okay, this is a 2012 Honda Pilot
yeah,
and it already obviously already knows the mileage on the vehicle because you've entered it in from before.
hmm,
You click on that and it says, okay, this vehicle with this kind of mileage, this is what the service intervals are, and this is what it should be due for if it hasn't been done yet.
yeah,
And the cool thing is, I'll be honest, I haven't used it much. I'm still learning. There's so much stuff in that program that I'm still learning some stuff, but you can click right on there. If it's due for that stuff, you can click on it. Within 3 clicks, it'll add that right onto your estimate without you
oh
having to
really?
enter. Oh, yeah, without you having to enter anything. So let's say if it's a 2012 Pilot with 196,000 kilometers, which, like you
Hmm,
said, every 100K is due for timing belt.
yeah,
It should show up on there that, okay, this is due for a timing belt. When you click on it, it'll add it to the estimate, and I believe it goes on like they call it canned jobs. So it basically will add it on there, and I believe if you've got your part suppliers linked up with it, it'll find the timing belt from your supplier and add it right onto the estimate.
holy cow.
So right now, I mean, I could go on for hours talking about Techmetric, but
Another
I
episode.
oh, that's another episode. But I mean, even like I've got certain package jobs like for brakes. So if I click on front pads and rotors, I click on it. it automatically brings up my four suppliers, and within 20 seconds, I can literally have that front brake job quoted out and sent to
Hmm.
the customer.
Yeah, that sounds very efficient.
But like I said, that's a whole another
Yeah.
episode. But Frank, like let's hear about you. So you said you've been in business for 5 years now. You obviously were doing something before that. So how did this all get started?
I've done this literally since the day in high school even. It's quite a interesting for me because I figured I was going to do this and never really thought about what I was going to do or how I was going to do anything. But I uh, I was in it was my grade 12 class. I was in shop class in the auto class because our town is lucky enough to still have a high school with tech classes.
Yeah,
And so I took all the tech classes, right? But I don't know, auto just seemed like the thing that I wanted to do. So I was sitting there in auto class. The teacher, his name was Mr. Fishley, and he was a
yeah,
crude old man.
fishy
But
man.
yeah. um, but anyway, and one day I was just sitting there, and he comes up to me and says, "Frank, you're going for an interview." And I said, "What?" "Yeah, you're going for an interview." And I said, "Okay." So he told me about this shop in town, and it was a muffler shop. It was called Bev's Muffler Shop,
Yeah,
and they were looking for an apprentice. And so they had come to the high school and asked, "Hey, can you give us at least four candidates that we could interview?" So off I went, did my interview, and I got the job. And I asked later, I said, "Why did I get the job?" And he said, "Because you speak two languages." And I said, "Oh, that's interesting." So I speak English and I speak Low German, and there's a huge Low German community here and areas around. And I think near you, there's a huge community in St. Jacobs that
yeah,
does so speak a
tons.
lot of Low German, right? And so it's helped me my whole career. I've been fluent in it because uh, I've always used it. I've always used it. There's been so many customers. I still have customers now that don't speak. I mean, a little bit of English, but speak fluent Low German, and I use it very regularly. And
Is
that
it
was the
like a
reason I got
different
the job.
dialect of German, or I've never heard of Low German?
Uh, so normally when you hear German, it's High German. It's the language that they would speak in Germany. Low German is a mash combination of like Pennsylvania Dutch, a little bit of Russian, a little bit of Polish in there, right? Like
That's exactly what I thought.
it's kind of been a dialect of a bunch of things. Like I've got neighbors across the road that are Polish,
Hmm.
and every now and again I catch a few words that are like, "Hey, I recognize that word," right?
Yeah.
But anyways, it's another whole story about where my ancestors are from. But anyway, so that's what got me uh, my first job. So right out of high school, I mean, things happened really fast. We finished high school. I got married like a month later. Then we had our son a month after that. And all of this was like boom, 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 boom. And here I am working in a shop, not really knowing. Like I always tinkered on a little bit of cars when I was a teenager, but
Yeah.
never really had any experience. So um, I did a co op placement at the Elmer Police College. And then from there, when I got this job, they transferred my co op placement to this muffler shop. So I did that.
Yeah.
And I worked there for 6 years, did my apprenticeship, got my license. And then, I don't know, I was raising a family. I had, at that point, three kids. And I was like, I gotta make more money. So I went and looking for a part time job. So I found this car dealership in town. Didn't have a mechanic. He was looking for somebody. So I worked for him nights, Saturdays.
Yeah.
So every day I go work there from 8 to 5, went home, had dinner over there 6 till 9 or 10, went home. And that's what I did for, I think, about a year and a half, 2 years. And plus I work Saturdays. The other shop, I never work Saturdays. So I work Saturdays over here. Then one day the old man comes up to me and he says, "Hey Frank, I got to tell you something." He said, "You're the first to know, and this is quite important because his sons were the other employees in the business, and I was the first to know." He said, "I just want to let you know that I've sold the business, I've sold the property, and we will be closing. I'll be retiring." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "Well, I guess then it's a good time to tell you that I have found another job. Don't worry about me. I'll be fine." And so that was like a month later. I left there. I went and started full time at my other shop. Then a
Yep.
month after that, he closed, retired. His son took over, moved the shop to another property, and still running it to this day, but just all by himself. So anyway, from there, I worked the next shop I worked at 14 years, and I was the only mechanic started there. And in the 14 years, we ended up buying another shop, expanding, hiring a couple of usually just apprentices techs, a
Yep.
few licensed techs over the years, but mostly just apprentices, co-op students, whatever.
Yep.
So I spent the 14 years basically working my way up to almost completely managing his company, um, being a service manager, shop foreman, technician, parts, whatever. Like I did everything. I ran the whole business minus the money.
Yeah.
The only thing I wasn't allowed to manage was the money, right? So I did the whole thing. One morning I wake up and I said, I can't retire on this. I'm working 40 hours, 46 hours a week. I'm making this much money. I can't retire. I got to do something different. My wife had been bugging me. My brother had been bugging me. Some other people have been bugging me. It's like, you
Was
should
there like
start
a
your own
breaking
shop. You
point?
should.
Was there a
Yeah,
breaking point that was like all of a sudden
that was
something
it.
happened and then you're like, you know what? Nope.
It was that morning. I must have had a dream or something. I woke up in the morning and says, I can't retire on this. And I said, I got to do something. So we started looking. And I think we spent 3 years looking for a place that we could buy or rent. So we put our house for sale. We put an offer in a house
Mm.
or in a property in another city. Our house didn't sell. We couldn't buy that one. So that went away. We did it 3 times where we looked at a property, tried to sell our house wouldn't sell, couldn't buy the property, couldn't do it. And finally, one day, uh, uh, a guy, a shop owner from another town, and this was during the time or shortly after we had to do all the e-tests, and he was really smart with e-tests, and so I'd been getting to know him pretty good with that. And one day he's like, "Hey, I'm thinking about retiring. Would you be interested in buying my shop?" And I said, "Absolutely, I would be."
Yeah.
He said, "Okay, well, here's the deal." He said, "You come and work for me for a year, get to know my customers, get to know whatever, and then I'll sell you the shop." And I said, "Deal, let's do it."
Yep.
It's just like that, right? So
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I took a job. I quit my job of 14 years, which was extremely stressful and yet relieving all at once. And off I went. Took my toolbox and went and started working with financing and stuff like that to get uh, to buy the shop. And I get about 6 months in, and I said, okay, all I need from you now, I got my financing in process. All I need from you now is a written bill of sale or a contract to say, yes, this is what we're going to do. And then I can finalize my financing. And he's, you know what? I don't think I'm ready to retire. I'm not going to do this. I said, well, that was the whole point of me coming here. He says, yeah, but I'm just not ready to retire. So I said, well, what about me? He says, oh, you could just keep working for me. And I said, nope. Mm-mm. So then it was like crunch time. Now I'm like, I hated being there. I didn't want to be
Yep.
there at all. So we spent that was another 3 months, and we were searching, searching, searching. Is I think in about 2 months we found a place, and it was an abandoned building. Uh, One guy had bought this property, and there was this building that was empty, and somebody else told me about it, and they said, "What about this place?" And I said, "If we can make it work, if its zoning is proper, let's do it." And it's yeah, so that worked out. So that was we signed the paperwork, we did it, And March of 2020, March 31st is the day that we opened. So it was peak COVID, I guess. And here we
Jeez,
are,
that's difficult.
quitting my job, opening my own shop. And here we are 5 and something years later,
You're
and
still
I don't
standing,
regret.
man.
I don't regret a single day of it. We have been so extremely blessed. It has been an absolute ride. Currently it's just myself and my wife, and actually our daughter's boyfriend is our service manager.
Yeah.
Our My wife's nephew is our apprentice. He's currently at school. So just the two of us in the shop right now. We just finished tire season, which you know very well. My wife is she's like, oh, I feel jacked. She's been doing most of the tires while I doing all the other work. But
Well, you're lucky.
uh,
Like your better half is right in there with you in the garage, which is pretty
yep.
cool.
Well, the reason she's there is that she was actually working um, for a company, and she got injured, had a back injury, and because of COVID, it was very convenient that they could just lay her off without any work. And eventually, she got onto like a disability program. Blah blah blah. So then they gave her new schooling, and she
Yeah.
went to school for doing bookkeeping. And so it was like, okay, well, now she's bookkeeping. We need a bookkeeper to run the business. So
Yep.
she just came to work for the business. And, and then she decided, well, you know what? You need help in the shop. So I'll just put on some work clothes and work in the shop.
She
For the
she probably
first little,
missed you. She probably missed you so much that she's like, you know what? I gotta be closer to Frank. So yeah, this is a good
you,
gig.
you know what? It's being a married couple, being in the shop together. It has its challenges, but it's so awesome. Like
That's cool. It's a very cool
it
dynamic. You don't see that very
just
often at all.
nah, just it's sometimes it's really great because being able to flirt with her during the day is kind of fun, So it's no, it's been a lot of fun. I've thoroughly enjoyed it. She's learned so much. She does such a good job. I don't even A tire job comes in. I don't Every once in a while she'll be like, "Hey, can you just help me set up this tire balancer for this specific one? It's not working right for me."
Yep.
I go help set it up. Other than that, she does all the tire changes, all the wheel swaps, everything. Like so, yeah. But
It's funny.
that's kind of my story. That's where we've been. We've been in business 5.5 years, and
That's cool,
I've
man.
been almost 30 years that I've been a mechanic, and I
Well,
figured they,
now you're aging yourself now with all these numbers.
oh man, I don't care about age, whatever. I've been having a white beard for the last 5 years, so I guess that's how it goes. But
When I remember
yeah,
when I told you I went to the ASTA Expo there in North
yep.
Carolina, there was a guy there. I believe is Joshua Combs. I believe that's his name. He had made these shirts. It's and it said on the back of it said, "I'm sleeping with my service advisor." You know, and his wife or girlfriend or something was I mean, it was just absolutely hilarious. I mean, that
Th-
might not be a bad shirt to to get made.
right here, I got my printer. As soon as my printer's fixed, I'm going to make that. But it's funny. We bought a van years ago from a local dealer that we actually still work with today, and it was a caravan, the first of the dual sliding door caravans.
Yeah,
And it was on a lease to own because we didn't have any money, so we leased it from them. And when the lease was up, I didn't realize that we had to do a safety check on it. She goes in to make the last payment, and they're like, "Okay, well, the lease is up. You have to get a safety check on this van, so put it in your name." Oh, she's like, "Oh." She calls me up. This is before the age of cell phone. Well, I guess we might have had a cell phone, but she calls the office, the shop, or whatever, and says, "Hey, they say I need a safety check on this van." I said, "Okay, well, come on down." And she comes down, and I get out the paper, and this is still on the paper thing, and I'm like,
yeah,
write a safety, give it back to her, and off she goes to the dealership. And the guy looks at it and he says, "Well, that was fast." And she's like, "Yeah, I sleep with the mechanic." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, it's so funny," but it's like It was true, right? So
I
like
mean,
that's probably the only safety check I ever wrote where I didn't actually look at the vehicle at all because it was my own personal vehicle and I knew exactly what it was.
oh, 100%.
But yeah. So, anyways, tell me about you. Let's hear your story. How did you get into this?
So, interesting fact. So we came to Canada. I used to live in Texas.
Oh,
So
really?
I lived in
I
Texas.
got some cousins in Texas.
Yeah, I was living in San Antonio for the longest time, and my parents' family all live in the Kitchener, Ontario area.
Hmm.
So Dad wanted to get back home, as he calls it, to where all the family is. So we moved cross country. So we moved
Yep.
all the way back and started started looking around like what do I want to do. So I went to school, and this is going back to like 2005, 2006. And Dad's like, okay, so what do you want to do? You got to go to school. At that time, it's like, if you want to do anything or be any kind of successful, you got to go to school and go to college and do something, right? Like
Yep.
trades and stuff like that back then, especially where I was in Texas, it wasn't a big thing. Everyone was like, you got to go to college or go to university for 4 years. When you get out, get a job. So I was like, okay, I guess I'm going to school. So I looked through, I was at Conestoga actually, and I was looking at all the courses, and I'm like, I don't know, like, what do I do? So I was looking through, and I ended up choosing journalism broadcast.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, because I've always wanted to be on TV. So
Well, here you are. Look at you
and
go.
here I am. Like that's like a full circle moment right now.
A dream come true.
Dream come true. So I did journalism broadcast for a year and a half, and back in 2005 6. I mean, at that time, it wasn't very multicultural, I guess I'll say, on TV.
Okay. Yep.
And I looked at it more and more, and like I started adding up stuff. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do this course for another year and a half. I'm gonna get out. I'm gonna have to kiss someone's ass, and I'm gonna be making $35,000 $40,000 a year.
Yep.
That's basically what it's gonna be. If I want to be where I want to be, it's gonna take me years and years. And like, do I really want to put that effort into it? Like, and I wasn't enjoying it either after a year and a half. So Dad finished up all his business stuff that he had in Texas, which is that's a whole another podcast I can go on about. But he finished up everything, and he came to Canada. And one day I get a phone call, and he's like, "Hey, come meet me over here at 2 o'clock." I'm like, "Where?" He's like, "Yeah, just this is the address. Be here at 2 o'clock." And I'm like, "Dad, I got class." And he's like, "Okay, what time is it done?" 3. I was like, "Okay, fine. 3:30. I'll meet you." So I get in my car, and I meet him at this dealership. And I was like, "Okay, so what's going on?" He's like, "Hey, you want to start a dealership?" And I'm like, I don't know. Do I?" He's like, "Yeah, I think you do." And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, okay." So we went and looked around, and about an hour later, we ended up signing a lease.
Really?
So I signed a lease, and I dropped out of journalism broadcast, which was not a very hard thing to do. I didn't feel bad about it at all. I was like, what the
Yeah.
hell?
Yep.
So we started the dealership. We started buying cars, and we eventually hired a mechanic. Uh, we did that from 2006 until I'd say 2012. I got married in 2012. So in 2012 we did until then. And basically I'd say 2009 or 10, we had about 30, 40 cars on the lot. Like we were doing pretty well. But when we'd safety the vehicles, we had hired a mechanic. And it was a I remember a guy's name was Slava. He's a Russian guy, cool guy. But every single car that came in, stupid design, stupid
Yep.
design. Everything was a stupid design. But Hey, I didn't care. As long as the car's fixed safe, whatever.
Yep. Yep.
So I remember it was a Chevy Cavalier we'd sold, and it needed a couple tires for safety. So I think Dad was out running an errand, and I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll grab a couple tires and call it a day. So I bought two tires from the local place and got them installed, and or sorry, I got two used tires for it.
Hmm.
I paid 150 bucks from a local wrecker, and I didn't realize that my dad had already bought two new tires and got them installed on the car already, and it was being
Oh,
delivered in
okay.
2 hours. So we got our lines mixed up there.
Yep.
So I'm like, I can't really return these two tires, 150 bucks. Like, what the hell am I supposed to do with that? So Dad's like, well, that seems like your problem. So I'm like, all right. So I had 150 plus tax, was like 169.50 with tax. So I was like, okay. At that time, Kijiji had just kind of formed and started
Hmm.
becoming popular. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to throw these on not marketplace. That's now, but I'll throw these on Kijiji. See what happens. What the hell? So I figured I'm going to throw them up for 250 bucks because someone's probably going to, barter me down to 100 something. If I can just get my money back, what the hell?
Yep.
So I threw them on for 260 or 250 or so, and just went on about my day. I think it was about 25 or 30 minutes later, a guy shows up in a Chevy Cavalier. Hey, I'm here for the tires.
Oh,
And
really?
I looked at the guy and I'm like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? We sell cars here. What tires? So he opened and he had a printout because we didn't have the mobile phones were around and everything, but he had a printout of the Kijiji guys like these tires. And I'm like, oh, okay. I just posted that. He's like, yeah, I want to pick them up because I need them bad. I'm like, okay. He handed me $250 cash, picked up the tires, and left.
Oh, wow. Just like that.
I'm like, light bulb moment. I'm like, whoa, I just
Yep.
made $100 in like
Yep.
25 minutes.
Yep.
So that's when we started getting heavy into used tires. So I'm talking,
Okay.
we had close to 1,000, 1,500 tires at one point, maybe more.
Wow.
I think the most at one point we had about 2,500 tires in that place, and all organized.
Hmm.
So that went on for a while. In 2013 or so, we ended up moving from that place because that place was being sold for condos and stuff like that. Moved directly across the street, more of like a warehouse setting. We were in there for a while. Again, mostly doing tires. We stopped selling cars for a while just because we didn't have the space.
Okay.
And over the years, we ended up doing quite well. Got a good name in the community. We took over more and more and more of the building. We had a storefront. Then we were able to sell cars again. So we did that for a while, and you know, Dad and I, because the business, me, mom, and dad, so family business. You met
Yep.
them when you came in,
Yep. Yep.
and at one point, I was talking to Dad. I'm like, Dad, like we can't be renting for so many years. Like, this is going on. So it was about 10, 12, 14 years. I'm like, at some point we should maybe look into buying something. So yeah, if the right place comes up. Okay. So I kept my eyes open, and this is back in 2019 or 2020. I saw a property that was for sale, and I was looking. I think it was January or February, and I looked at it, and the picture that the realtor had took was was a horrible picture. It was a picture of a red brick building with the price and how big the property was. That was the first picture you see,
Hmm.
and it had X amount of dollars. So I'm like looking at it, I'm like, this looks weird, but it looks a little familiar. So I Google map the place, and I'm like, what's that in the back? And I see this 5 bay garage. I'm like, okay, I'm intrigued. So I look at it a little bit further, and I realize that it used to be a huge dealership way back in the day, and now it
Okay.
was occupied by a single mechanic that the front lot was filled with a bunch of junkers and stuff like that and had an office, and it's like, this is quite interesting. And I looked at the price and I was like, it's actually pretty reasonable. So I kind of in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep my eye on this place. So I'd say 2 weeks go by, and every few days I'm, going back and refreshing and looking. So one day in the morning, first thing I go in the morning and I go and I start looking at realtor.ca and see if any new listings come out. And then I see that property and the price went down 250 grand.
Oh wow.
So I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, this is good. This is really good. So, and at this point, dad's only seen the picture and like the picture of the garage. He wasn't really paying any attention to it or whatever. So I called a realtor at that moment. I'm like, hey, can I meet you at this property? I can be there in about 20 minutes. And this is the morning after, like, they probably dropped the price that evening. And
Yep.
then the next morning, I'm calling him.
Yep.
So he said, sure, I'll meet you there in half an hour. So I told dad, I was like, Dad, let's go grab a coffee at Tim's. So for any US listeners that'll be listening in, Tim's is reference to Tim Hortons, which is the messiah of coffee in Canada. Okay.
If you drink coffee, some of
If
us
you drink
don't.
coffee,
Some of us prefer whiskey.
nothing wrong with it. So dad said sure. It was January, so it's kind of a slower month, so he's like, whatever, let's go grab a coffee. So we jump in the car, we grab a coffee at the Tim Hortons, which is across from the property we're gonna go look at,
Yep.
grab a
Yep.
coffee, and I look across the street and I'm like, this is gonna be wild. So then we drive across the street and we park at this place that's for sale. And dad's like, well, what are we doing here? Like this junkyard. Like, what are we doing here? I'm like, oh, we're just gonna buy this place really quick. He's like, what?
What?
He's like,
What?
literal words like, what are you talking about? We're gonna buy this place right now. I was like, yeah, like that's the realtor's car. Like we're gonna go buy this right now.
Yeah.
So he's still dumbfounded. He's like, what the hell is going on right now? So we go in, we take a tour of the property, go through the garages and everything, and go through it. Each like the guys that were in the garages, like they did not. I I have certain standards like with the garage. It's got to be clean.
Hmm.
It's got to be well
Yep.
lit. And I
Yeah.
mean,
You and me both. Yep.
I'm not saying it's like I want it to look like a BMW dealership where you can eat off the floor, but
But don't look like a dungeon either.
exactly. So we go through
Yep.
it, and my dad's looking at it, and he may not be looking at it with the same eyes that I had because I was
Hmm.
picturing exactly what it could be.
Yep.
We go through it. We go through. It has three apartments on the property as well, which is great. It's
Oh
rental income,
wow.
and we kind of take a look at that, and then we go to the front office, and we walk up the stairs to the front office, and there's wall here, offices here. It's all broken up into little spots there, and the realtor's like, "What do you think?" I'm like, "We'll take it."
Hmm.
And I was like, "His paperwork." I brought a checkbook with me. I wrote a check, and I was like, "Here's the deposit, uh, and subject to bank financing and everything." My
Yep.
dad's still standing there. He's like, "What is going on right now?" I'm like, "I told you, we're buying this place. Trust me." So we put an offer in, and my dad's like, "What just happened here? We're buying this place?" I'm like, "Yes, we're buying this place." So the day after, the realtor calls me, and he's like, "The guys that own the place, that are leasing the place right now, they're going nuts because they found out that there's a offer on the place, and now they want to buy it." I'm like, "Well, they probably should have tried buying it when it was 250,000 bucks more."
Yep.
So, long story short, it's one of the best decisions we've made.
Hmm.
Definitely, you're paying mortgage instead of paying rent, and as you know, and 5 years later, we've got 5 people working in the garage, me, mom, and dad in the front. And I don't regret it for a day. I mean, it's one of the best decisions in business we've ever made.
Yeah.
Going into your own place, as you know, like it's your place, you make the rules, and when
By
if you do well, you do well. If you don't do well, that's on you as well, as on you too. So you get to make all the decisions and reap the benefits, or if business is slow, there's only one person to blame, right?
exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you understood that wrong. I am leasing my property.
Oh,
I
okay,
don't.
sorry.
I don't own it. I wish I did,
I thought
but
you ended up okay.
no, no. It's on a property. It's a huge manufacturing right now. The property used to be, and if you're listening to this, and if you want to Google Aylmer Meat Packers, just Google that and see what comes up. And there's a huge controversy on this property. So anyway, um, the guy who bought it real cheap because it was a contaminated building. He bought it
Oh, I
cash or
see.
whatever.
Yep.
So anyway, we're actually leasing our area, and there's no real chance of buying it. We looked at buying some other properties, but man, right now at the price of properties and what we're paying for lease, if we were to buy something, we'd actually go in the hole, and it wouldn't be beneficial for us. I
Yeah.
keep looking at it for I don't know. You said I was dating myself before, and I'm 45 currently. So how many years do I really have left? 15 years, right? So if I do buy a property now, it would take me at least that long to pay it off.
If your
But the
rent
amount
is
of
reasonable and if
my
everything's
rent is
working
very
where you
reasonable,
are,
right?
then you're laughing,
So
man.
and it's very good for what I have, right? So I think if I I'm looking at it this way, I could take that money and I could buy a property, later on sell the property, or I could take that extra money it would cost me to buy a property. This is how much I'm paying for my lease. This is how much I would pay for my property, and I take that difference and I invest that money. I probably have more money later on than if I buy a property and then sell it when I'm ready to retire. So
Yeah, no, that
I
makes
mean,
sense. Sorry, I
there's two
misunderstood
ways
you
to look
earlier
at that,
there.
really, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, I wish I could own my own property, but right now, especially in my town, not going to happen. I would literally have to move out of my town in order to buy a property. My town is stupid right now. The taxes are unreal. The property is non-existent. It's there was one property that came for sale. It was a used car dealership. They just closed one day, just done, and
Oh
it
boy.
came for sale. The price of it was unreal. If I would have bought that, I would have had a smaller shop than what I have now
Yep.
at 3 times the money. And I'm like,
Jeez.
that's just not worth it.
No.
Like why would I do that to myself? There was almost no room for expansion. I would have had to go from a 3 bay shop to a 2 bay shop. Um, I probably would have had about the same real estate parking wise, but
Yep.
one day less. Why would I do that to myself? So I'm like, it's just not worth it. Just not worth it. So,
You always
anyways,
want to use the KISS method. Just keep it simple, stupid.
yeah, very content with where I am. I'm 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 a bit of like I love to do stuff, but I'm not one of those like I will reach for the stars to try and grasp something. If something is here and it's working for me, let's
Yep.
go with that. I'm good with that. I don't need to reach for something imaginary and try and make it work. If this is working for me, hey, you know what? I'm making money. I'm able to pay my bills. I'm starting to put away for retirement, which I never did working at that other shop I did for
Yep.
14 years, right? Hence the reason I woke up one morning and said, hey, I can't retire on this.
Yep.
I'm finally putting the money away for retirement, and all my kids have gone through school. They've all got good careers. Well, one is still in school finishing, but almost done, right? So that part of life is through, and right now it's just the two of us and the dog and 3 cats. Apparently now 3 cats.
Only three?
Only three. That's it.
Didn't you have
anymore.
a litter of kittens you were telling me about?
Hey, that litter of kittens, they all got adopted.
That's beautiful.
They
That's
were the
good.
most beautiful kittens ever. I'm not an animal person whatsoever, but I'm telling you, these kittens were just
I
they
know
were
you
lovely.
you told me you were
They
gonna bring one for me when you came to my shop. I'm like, I got a dog and
yeah, you know what?
I
They
got
were
three
great,
kids and a dog right now, and I don't think I can handle any more
but
living.
the mother cat, she ended up coming home, so she just this week got spayed, so now it's like nursing her, whatever. But beautiful cat. Anyways, so we have a great thing going right now, and with the shop that we have and the work that we have and everything, I'm content. I'm very content. I'm not like one of the things people always like, oh, everybody that runs a shop, they're just out to get somebody. No, I'm just out to supply for myself, my
Yep,
family, and be able to at some point retire from this. I don't want to do this forever. I love what
yep,
I do, but I don't want to do this forever. I need to be able to retire, right? Just like I'm sure
definitely.
you're thinking about retirement at some point, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And
if you're, it's not all about owning a property
yeah,
or anything. It's can you pump out enough work for you to be comfortable, pay your bills, pay your staff, and
yep,
at the end of the day, you've done a full day of honest work. Now,
it,
if you can
and
do that by the end of the day, and you put your head down at night, and you can sleep and sleep
yeah,
with a
exactly.
clear mind that you didn't screw anyone, you're laughing, man. That's being rich right there. There's nothing better than that.
Well,
If
I'll
you've
tell
made
you what.
money honestly, that's the right way. But if you
Yeah,
made money by screwing someone, then it's all gonna come back. It's all karma.
yeah, exactly. When we started our shop, we were looking at creating our logo, and this is, that's our logo right there. And you can't read that, but on the bottom of our logo, it says "Go farther with integrity." And when we were building our logo, the guy that was doing the design for us, he says, "Do you have a slogan for your business?" And I said, "I don't." And then I thought about it for a couple of days, and I'm like, I want something to do with integrity because that's literally been my whole career.
Yeah,
Is I built my whole career on being a man of integrity. I never want to screw someone. I never want someone to say that guy really me and I really feel like he just took advantage of me and took all my money and
yeah,
right. So then, I mean, it took me a while. Finally, I got go farther with integrity. Like I can use the integrity that I have to build into these cars to make your car go further, right?
yeah.
Hey, since the slogan was born,
I
right?
like it. I like it.
And that's been literally my whole life. My whole career has been built on this. I will never cheat somebody. I will never sell somebody something that they don't need. I will always recommend the best service that I can. And at the end of the day, I go to bed and I sleep like a baby because I never go to bed and think, oh man, that person's going to be mad at me because I ripped them off, right?
Yep.
Every once in a while, I go to bed and think, shit, did I tighten up that bolt? But, you
Yeah.
know, there's always that. But I never worry about someone going home and saying, I really feel ripped off because that's
Yeah,
just not, I can't do
because
that.
from day one, like you've had certain principles and ethics, right? And you've
Always. That's
instilled that in your service advisor and your
Yep.
staff, and
The
day
first thing I
one
teach them.
to
Yep.
exactly
Yep. No, I
one.
teach them. I said, this is my regulations. This is what I do. I said, you don't defer from this. This is how we treat customers. This is how we treat cars. This is how we do this job. And if you don't like it, that's the door right there. You know,
You
and
gotta.
that's
Everyone
just
has
how
to
we do
make
things.
money and make margins
Yep.
and profit, but it's got to be done the right way and the honest way. And
Yeah.
one thing I'll actually I should send you a link to. I don't know if you heard of Josh Parnell. Does that ring a bell at all?
Mm-mm, no.
He's does a leadership. He's a limitless leadership podcast. Really cool guy. And one thing he said on there, which really stuck with me, is you can either affect people or infect people. I
Yep.
mean, when you really think about that, man, that really holds some weight. I mean, when we talk to customers, we talk to family, we talk to anyone, like, do you want to affect them or you want to infect them? I mean, that's deep stuff, man,
Yeah.
and it really
Exactly.
makes you think on every interaction you have with people. I mean, what kind of impact you want to have on that person, and that goes the same way when you're writing a repair order or something. You got to be very delicate on how you do that. I mean, how you word it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yep. Yeah. Being very careful with how we treat customers and how we treat their cars. 100%.
Well, Frank, we're pushing over an hour here, so I think we should probably call it. And
Doesn't feel like it's been that long, eh?
no, no, it doesn't feel like it's been that long at all. But thank you for joining me as a co-host on here, and hopefully we'll have another episode coming out very, very soon. This was a little bit of a test pilot, but I think this was a lot of fun, and looking
Yep.
forward to getting on another podcast with you.
Absolutely. I look forward to it. I think this is going to be great. We'll have a lot of discussions about how this industry works and how customers relate to us and how we relate to them and vice
Definitely.
versa. Yep.
I'll have some show notes on the bottom here, and there will be a way to subscribe, like. Please, everyone that's listening, share
Yep.
this with your friends. We really appreciate it, and thank you. And until the next episode, we'll see you.
Hey, take care, everyone.